The threat of HIV is not hard to find in the border city of Tijuana, Mexico, if you know where to look. It's here in an AIDS hospice where volunteer nurse Alberto Ramirez Rojas helps ease the pain of a dying man. It's in the red light district where prostitutes sell themselves openly, day and night. Or in the filth of so-called shooting galleries, a growing subculture of injection drug users who often share infected needles. Mexico has a lower rate of HIV and AIDS than the United States, but in Tijuana, the rate is rising. Dr. Remedios Lozada and Professor Kimberly Brower are among researchers on both sides of the border who've studied Tijuana's rate of HIV infection.
Para nosotros ya tenemos una epidemia concentrada.
We have a concentrated epidemic. We should really recognize that we have populations that are very vulnerable with a lot of risks that we should take care of.
The researchers estimate up to 1 in every 125 people aged 15 to 49 is infected with HIV.
And in all of the at-risk groups, we've just in the past decade have seen an alarming increase. It's still considered low compared to other countries, but the amount of change in the past decade is very concerning.
In central Tijuana, UC San Diego is working with a nonprofit to help prevent HIV among the groups most at risk of infection. Free condoms, information, and packets of clean syringes are handed out in neighborhoods like Mapa, Callejon, and Zeta, areas where prostitution and drug use are rampant.
People live in the living quarters, if you can call that. It's really unhealthy. There's trash all around, and it's just contaminated water. And in these conditions is when they're conducting their activities, sexual and of drug use. We are really presenting an alternative for people to consider their high risk and to put their health as a priority.
People are offered free blood tests for HIV and syphilis. This admitted drug user was fortunate. His test revealed he is not infected with HIV. About 20 miles away on the southeastern edge of Tijuana, an AIDS hospice cares for infected men and women who have no money or family support. Here at the bottom of a slope sits Casa Hogar Las Memorias. The 35 to 40 patients here at any given time form a who's who of risk groups. Injection drug users, gay men, displaced immigrants and pregnant women, the sexually careless.
Pero si no tienen casa, necesitan un lugar para que se les.
If they don't have anywhere to go, they need a home where they can go on with their treatments, care, clothing, food, love.
Lozada helped establish the nonprofit, and her husband, Dr. Manuel Gallardo Cruz, treats the patients.
Lo que pasa es que muchos pacientes.
Many patients are drug users. They have abandoned prior treatments. They abandon them for a while, and then they come back when their condition is already too complicated.
The hospice depends on a hierarchy of patient health.
Every morning, early in the morning, first thing, before anything, that's what they do.
The able-bodied perform chores. They cook meals of donated meat, rice, and beans. Do their best to control the erratic behavior of patients with mental problems. And they give basic care to those who are too ill to care for themselves. Once a month, patients are driven to doctor's appointments at Tijuana General Hospital, where they are checked and their prescriptions are refilled. Mexico's health system, Seguro Popular, pays for it. These are the antiretroviral drugs that help keep HIV from advancing to AIDS. the condition in which the body's immune system can no longer fight off illness. One of the first and last jobs Hector Beltran does each day is to hand out the life-saving medication to hospice patients. Each mix of antiretroviral drugs is tailored to a patient's individual needs. 2 pills here, 3 pills there, and finally, 3 pills for Beltran himself, for he is a patient as well. The sickest people in the hospice are those who've developed full-blown AIDS. They need skilled care, and once again, volunteers do much of the work.
My role here at the hospice is to look after patients with HIV and other illnesses such as tuberculosis and administration of intravenous medicines, according to the doctor's prescriptions.
A lot of the people who come here, this is going to be the place where they spend the rest of their lives.
U.S. Navy nurse Courtney Crane drives in from San Diego several times a year.
They're terminal, and they're coming here to be taken care of while they die. And palliative care is focused on keeping them comfortable during that part of their lives.
That was all that could be done for Jose Villa. Battered by illnesses his AIDS-weakened body could no longer fight, he died, like roughly 600 patients before him, here in the hospice. In Tijuana, Mexico, I'm James Hill for Life and Times. The port of entry between Tijuana, Mexico and San Ysidro, California is the busiest land border crossing on Earth. 14 million vehicles a year carry more than 45 million people northward toward the U.S. Customs checkpoint. Huge foreign manufacturing plants called maquiladoras dominate nearby hillsides and employ thousands of workers. Maria Nelly Castro says she came to Tijuana from her native Honduras looking for work.
I have 5 sons and I couldn't support them there. The job I had wasn't enough to buy them what they needed.
But instead of prosperity, the immigrant only found more poverty and HIV. She told journalism student Natalia Zelaya she was infected by a man she began living with.
What did you know about AIDS before you got infected? ¿Qué es lo que sabías del SIDA antes de estar infectada?
Nada.
Nothing, she says, because in my country you don't hear much about this illness, to tell you the truth. When I came from over there to Mexico, I was naive about illnesses.
Tijuana continues to attract immigrants like Castro and place them at risk.
What we have are many patients that come from the United States and the center of Mexico. They come from different parts of the country. Not everybody is from here. Many are from outside and come already infected.
Many immigrants are desperate to try to enter the U.S. illegally, but a new double fence snakes its way eastward and bars their path. Slopes on the U.S. side have been scraped clean of heavy brush and dotted with powerful lights. Fence jumpers like these are simple to spot day or night. Within moments, U.S. Border Patrol agents descend across the network of graded roads and chase the border crossers back into Mexico.
Once they get here, it's difficult to cross. And so it's like a stagnant life of just staying here and waiting, I guess. And they often end up finding themselves in the loop of like prostitution and drug use. And that's where they become infected.
You are in a completely new context, completely unfamiliar, and you become vulnerable. And unfortunately, in the aspect of health, is that you can be doing things that will put you at risk.
Castro's tragic mistake cost more than her health. She bore an HIV-infected daughter who lived only months before dying here at the AIDS hospice, Casa Hogar Las Memorias. Researchers say Castro is not alone.